Welcome everyone to my new stage in my podcast, Witness, where I'll be sharing with you stories of human encounters, soul-family reunions, life's touch, the story of our collective journey, walking each other back home. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Witness. I'm your hostess, Mariya Molduvanova, and today I have with me Roderic Chabot, fellow coach, podcaster, writer, and dear friend. Welcome, Rod. How are you today?
I am doing amazing. Thank you very much for inviting me to your podcast. I'm privileged to be here with you. And you said I was a writer, coach, and podcaster, but what I love the most is that you called me a dear friend. So I will take that as being the nicest compliment that you could ever give me.
It truly is an honor to know you, to cross paths with you on this human journey, to be able to witness you through many instances of learning and growing, and to be witness,
Yeah.
because you are there to witness me through many experiences.
Yeah.
We met a couple years ago during our coaching certification
Yeah. Exactly.
with Shetty. And oh my God, that feels like yesterday and a lifetime ago.
Yeah. Yeah. 3 years already since I've joined. It's actually going to be exactly 3 years to the day on June 17th. So less than a month. It'll have been 3 years that I've signed up for that certification program. But around this time, 3 years ago, May 23rd, today to be exact, I was already looking at the possibility of joining and doing a 6-day introduction program, searching, looking at possibilities. Is this what I want to do? Is the J Shetty School a scam? Is it something that's going to really help me with this newfound reason to exist, which is to help others in some capacity, which I wasn't clear on yet, but I wanted to do. And finally, on June 17th, this is the day I whipped out my credit card and took every last penny of my savings and decided to just jump and go for it. And here I am 3 years later with you talking about that. So yes, time absolutely flies. It just doesn't go by. So it's even more reason to celebrate that today.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember from the get-go when we connected, we were in the same group, and it was like we already knew each other. It felt like we were kind of on the same journey.
Yeah.
Because before the pandemic, we had other passions. I was event designer before that. I believe you were editor, publisher.
Yeah, I had my own publishing company.
And then with the world stopping, our lives kind of shifted.
Yeah.
And we had that first awakening of who am I now? How else I can show up in the world and help others.
Exactly.
And that's how we found each other.
Absolutely. And
Learning to become coach.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I remember the way that we connected the first time was when we signed up for the school and were actually preparing to introduce ourselves and to be part of the group that we were assigned to. We had to write a short bio about ourselves and say a little bit where we come from, why we're here, who we are, and just basic details on for the group to get us to get to know us better, get to know me better in this case. And I remember writing my story. I remember taking the time to, put in all the details of the last year of what I went through, plus the last pretty much decade of just looking and searching and always feeling unfulfilled. And you were the first to write to me. I think at the first group call, not long after, anyways, I just saw your email come in or this pop up of you saying, "Oh my God, Rod, your journey seems like it's mine. I so appreciate what you've written. You were really, really like so kind." And I was blown away because I wasn't expecting anyone to respond. I was just putting myself out there so that I could join the group and be part of it. But when you wrote, you were the first one, and you actually wrote this beautiful message of how my journey had been similar to yours in some respects, and that you could see yourself through my journey, and that, we were already connected through this new program that I hadn't even started one module yet, and you'd already like connected with me. So, yeah, you're definitely like the first person, and I guess this is going to we can erect a statue on this. You're going to always be that first person that reached out to me at the school, like not being working for the school, but actually being a participant and someone also who's looking to become more, and in this case, learn the craft of coaching. So yeah, it's like yesterday, and that was 3 years ago. Look at us now. You have a podcast.
And I clearly remember this because the requirement was a video message, I think.
Mm,
And you were expressing yourself through
yeah.
the video. I'm not sure. I remember a video. But the reason I'm mentioning that is through the Shetty certification and through what he witnessed me, I came into the school with the belief that I would not be a good coach
Mm,
because I lost my voice.
mm,
And it was like, how are you gonna mentor people
yeah.
if my voice sounds so weird? People are not gonna take me seriously. So I was kind of afraid in the time to even put myself in a closed room on a video call and speak. And as you say, look at me now,
Absolutely.
having my own podcast. So to be great and keep expressing and sharing our voices.
Yeah. And what a great way of putting it, because when I came into this certification program, I had to put myself out there. I had to speak up. I had to introduce myself. I had to talk about concepts that I wasn't very aware of yet and give my opinion or give my ideas. That was super, super challenging for me because I was a very introverted, shy person. And it took me a while before I overcame the barrier of shyness and just started becoming, I guess, a leader in talking, and always because I found my voice. But you had an extra challenge, which is your voice, which I can not imagine, the fear behind that of being judged or having people maybe not understand what you're saying. And you overcame that challenge, tenfold by not only being able to speak up, but participate and be an active participant in everything that the school represented. And then from then, establishing your coaching practice, but doing so many other things, reinventing yourself through the process also since the certification, and today having your podcast and basically showing the world a voice is a voice. The important is what you have to say, and not, the fact that you're limited in the way that you can say it, or because of something that stops you from being able to fully express your ideas, you're going to do it anyways, only because, it is too important to not do. And you will, you've proven that right now.
Exactly, because the messages, the wisdom that we communicate, or I communicate, is much bigger and much stronger than my voice might be.
Yeah.
And you know that firsthand, because since our certification together, you also became my client.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you witnessed me through that.
Yep.
And I like that you shared in the beginning that you were shy and you were afraid to share yourself. But I want to reflect back that through this sharing, you became one of the leaders in our community.
Mm.
You became someone that was looked for, looked at. And I remember right before we started working together, I was sharing with Hannah, and she was asking me, who is your ideal client? Who do you want to coach? And the first thing that came to mind was like, I want to coach the Roderic-s of the world.
Hmm. Wow.
I want to coach the leaders. I want to coach the people with charisma, with leadership, with heart open to help, to share their knowledge. Because I know that our work together, even that it was one-on-one, everything that I was sharing with you, I knew that you will ripple 10 times into the world,
Mm-hmm.
into your community, into your family, because of the beautiful heart that you have, because of the wise soul that you are, because of the leader that you are, and the impact that you're making into the world. And like I said, I was honored afterwards to become your mentor, your coach. And after that, to witness you establishing your own podcast and becoming this leader, creating the community. And yet again, I was looking with admiration of what you're creating. I was like, I want to create a community like this, share the beautiful souls that I met on my road
Mm-hmm.
with the world, and share our stories, share our experiences, so they can become a guide for someone else in the world.
Wow, that's beautiful, and I'm very touched by your words, and I'm humbled by everything that you've said. But I must say that when I joined the program, and the shyness, the being introverted, being afraid to be judged or laughed at, which is stuff that comes from the past, and things that I'd gone through as a child and as an adolescent. The wake up call that I got one day to be able to just say, I'm going to stop being shy and just say what I have to say and not care anymore, because I've invested a lot of money to be here. So if I stay silent, then I'm not going into the program wholeheartedly, in a sense that I'm fully invested and fully willing to commit to every exercise, every group call, everything that we must do as coaches to be able to participate to our fullest, not just do the work in terms of the studies that we have to do, but actually interact and very much be an active participant. That broke down something in me that I'd never broken down, which is not having the fear of talking in front of people and being judged for what I have to say, because they're going to judge you anyways, whatever you have to say. And that's not just at the Jay Shetty program, but anywhere and you go to speak your word or speak your truth. Coming back to what you said about, you wanted to coach the rods of the world. I'm very touched by that word, but I have to say that coming back to you, I always thought the courage that you exemplified by talking and speaking up and putting yourself out there when you could have so easily just stayed under your shell and wait and just do your work and then graduate quietly and get out and do your practice. Instead, you also took this platform to break down whatever limiting beliefs you had or whatever barriers were holding you back from speaking, and you took it and you put it to another level, which to me and with others saw pure bravery and courage to speak up. Although you have a bigger challenge than all of us had at the school, which is some of us were shy, some of us were introverted, some of us didn't know how to act or talk or speak our minds, but you had maybe some of that, but you also, were fearful of your voice. And that absolutely attracted to me. It was attractive to me in terms of working with you. And in saying if she has the courage, then that means she's not going to hold back on saying whatever truth she needs to be saying. And as someone who's been coached by many people, and including you, the one thing that I think was the most powerful repetition that we had at every session was your ability to not take any BS and see right through me and speak up and use your voice to call that out and call me out. And that's what I liked, because I felt like there was no hiding under a rock. It was always, pure coaching, in the sense that if I'm paying you for a service, I'm not paying you to tell you how good looking you are. I'm telling you that what you're saying is not true. Or I'm going to challenge you on what you said. And that's where your power resides. So thank God you're using your voice. You're doing the world a service by doing that, and that's the extra layer of bonus that I was telling you, of challenge that you've had, that you overcame, and now today you're an inspiration to many to see that it's not because you may have a physical challenge that you can't do whatever the hell you want. So hey, I lost my voice years ago, but I'm going to do a podcast. How powerful is that? It would be much easier to just do nothing and write a book and just be silent, but instead you're doing a podcast and you're going to write a book. But ultimately, and you wrote one too, but it's very too, my God. That's what I look for in people also, is the inspiration and seeing that nothing holds them back. And working with people like that, for me also as a coach, is, some say that I inspire them, but I can never inspire them as much as they inspire me to be better. So yeah, that would be the one thing that I take away from this whole school is the connections I've made with people that are still here today, 3 years later, with you, with others, and that we still have this bond that is unbreakable. And yes, we admire each other, but overall it's admiring what we've become and what we're still to become eventually by the days go by, because we change, and When I came out of the school, the last thing I thought about is doing a podcast. Now we're podcasters. Oh, so what's next?
I remember very vividly that conversation as you were sharing that we all um, stay kind of connected to each other. I remember that conversation when you were sharing of what is next on your journey, and you were sharing the idea about the podcast, and I think we were talking about a new house and bring the people to the party, and the party's not over.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just a different party.
I remember that. Hmm. That was a heavy moment too, right? The fear of leaving the party that was the JSCS certification program, where we were so not comfortable, but so sparked every week to be with like-minded people, have these amazing conversations, be inspired, want to connect, want to coach, want to do so many things. And then you're like, oh my God, but it's going to end soon because we have to graduate. We have to move on, do our own thing. And that was a huge step for me also. And I remember when you coached me on that, and I was like, yeah, but if we just see it as a different house instead of the party ending, changes everything, right? And that has been a huge help, and something that I still apply today with many other things that you've coached me on in the past too. That was very helpful because of you calling me out and also challenging me on certain biases that I've had and limiting beliefs. That still to this day is very relevant in everything that I do. In fact, the book that I've just written starts with a quote from you that you've said on one of our sessions that I've talked to you about, today I am three things, but tomorrow I can be five things. So I could be a writer, a coach, and a podcaster today, but who knows if tomorrow I'm not going to add to that an architect or a musician or I don't know, a restaurant owner, whatever comes to mind. That could be anything. So my identity is not stuck in being just a coach or a writer or a podcaster. Those are things that I do. They're a result of what I do as my mission and purpose in life, which is to, uplift people, uplift curiosity. But I do it by the means that I have and want to do today. But tomorrow I can uplift curiosity with people by, owning a restaurant and having conversations with people in my restaurant or in my coffee shop. Or buy a van and go travel the country and have conversations with people around the country in my van. I mean, it's endless. As long as I keep to my one sole mission, which is to uplift curiosity and be that person that is challenging to the other, showing that it's through obstacles and through hardships that you elevate yourself and that you can pivot and be flexible and change your mind as much as you want, as long as you keep doing something that serves something greater than yourself. And that's what I do no matter what. So whatever context I'm in, whether it's doing a podcast or it's serving coffee in a coffee shop, I'm going to do that. So this whole journey has evolved into me being very secure that I'm not a podcaster in terms of my identity, but it's rather what I do today. But tomorrow, ask me again, and it could be something different, or I have other dreams. So if anything, the time that we spent together and the years that we've been together in terms of colleagues and friends has solidified my clarity in terms of I know exactly where I want to go. I know exactly where I want to be, and there's nothing stopping me. All I have to do is be patient and keep going forward. But if I decide to change my mind and pivot and do something else, then I'll just change courses, but I'll keep going, I'll go another way. But it doesn't change what I'm here to do. I'm here to have amazing conversations with people and uplift them in every which way possible, to show them that anything is possible, because I am living proof that when you're down for the count, thinking of suicide, thinking you're not worth anything, thinking that your life is just a bleak blob of darkness, that you're not there to help anybody really, that you're just whatever. Well, you can actually take all of that, and if you just hold on and not give up on yourself, you will find what the universe wants you to do. And it's going to send you signs in every which way possible until you wake up and see it. And that's what happened to me. And today, not only does it serve me, but I'm sure the story will help others also to see that when darkness finds you, is only an obstacle, and it's a moment and it shall pass. But don't give up on yourself. Give up the job you're doing. Give up whatever mission you're on that's not serving your life. Give up stuff that you're accumulating in your closet because you're buying stuff to compensate. But don't give up on yourself, because there is something there for you to share with the world. And that's what I feel is the biggest thing of all, is that we all have genius to share and offer the world. If we would to not be able to do it, it would deprive the world of whatever it is that you have to offer, your genius. The only thing now is to find it and to discover it and to hone in on it and practice it, and then go out there and talk about it and be you. And this speaks to your authenticity too, Mariya, because being authentic, not caring about anything, in the sense that you don't care what people think of you, they don't you don't care what people think of whatever you're practicing, whatever content you're putting out there. You're going to be you 100%. That's sharing your gift with the world. That's showing the world that you're going to be you no matter what. And if you don't like it, well, I'm not for everyone. I'm for those who I speak to, and those who I connect with understand. The rest, no big deal, because if I'm not me, I'm going to be criticized anyway, so I might as well just be me. And that's what you do. And that's what's so spectacular about everything that you've accomplished so far and everything's to come, is that nothing is stopping you. And again, this podcast is a testament of courage and bravery in sharing your genius with the world. So for me, if there's anything I'm taking away from all that we've worked on together, and that we're still connected in every which way possible, is to see you share this genius with the world. And this is what propulses me also to share this message, because it is proof that even in the darkest moments and the most fearful places that we can be sometimes in life, we have something to offer the world. And you found it. And that is worth saying over and over again.
Thank you for witnessing me through all of that. Mm-hmm. And thank you for seeing me in all of that, whether you understood me or you did not. The reason why we're still friends and still communicate is that you are one of the people that never judge, no matter how interesting my right language was becoming, or my message was becoming, no matter my move to spiritual coaching and everything, through my books and everything that I've shared, you are always there to support without judgment, just witnessing and appreciating.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate that part of you, because that is one thing that is one of your geniuses as a coach. That's why many of your clients appreciate you, because you witness them as they are.
Yeah.
I might not understand you, but I'm witnessing you as you are. I'm walking the journey beside you. And I'm still supporting you to whatever you're experiencing.
Well said. Well said. And the one thing I repeat to everyone that I come across, and I say this in my podcast all the time, and I say this to you right now, is that you, Mariya, are the most unique, one of one, limited edition human being there is in the world. There is no one that even comes close to resembling you or can even be close to being a little bit like you. You are the most unique thing, the most expensive thing on the market, because there's nothing that comes close to you. So people will buy a Van Gogh and a Salvador Dali painting for millions of dollars and can get reproductions that are hard to tell apart. But as a human being, nobody comes close. Nothing can get close to you. So this, for me, is the heart of everything that I do, is having that person understand that you are so unique that you have something to share with the world. You have a message that you must put out there so that people can listen to that. No matter how many, it doesn't matter if there's a million or just one, but you have something to share because you're unique. You have a point of view that no one else has. You have values, you have talents, you have skills, you have things that nobody comes close to having. It could be similar to a certain extent, but you have a twist that no one else has. That's how we are. That's because that's who we are as a human, and the human experience. So from there, this is the most important message that anyone can hear from me today, is that how unique you are. So for you to do what you do today just shows how you embrace your uniqueness. You embrace the fact that you're a limited edition, that there's nothing that comes close to you. There is not a price that is high enough to buy you, because you're so unique that you have something to share that is more important than anything in the world. So what's that message? Well, it's right now it's through a podcast, and it'll be something else. Maybe in 3 days you'll do something else out there to mesmerize the world, and who knows what that will be also. Isn't that beautiful though? But if once we embrace this about ourselves, there's nothing that we cannot do. And that's where I come in to uplift that curiosity so that people are curious to go figure out what it is that they're looking, what it is that they don't know they're looking for, or of everything that they're capable of. Be curious, go explore, experiment, try things. You got nothing to lose. You're so unique, you'll find something for you, but you have to look for it. Sometimes the universe sends you clues and gives you, a stomach ache, or sends you a sign that could come in the form of a wall, or it could come in the form of an opportunity. Whatever it is, keep your eyes open. It's around you. It's circling there. All you have to do is grab it. And it can come many, many times. The good thing is the universe never gives up on us. No matter how many times we supposedly fail or that we didn't learn the lesson, it's always back to help us out. You didn't get the lesson this time. You're going to learn it the next time. And we keep going and going and going until one day, oh, there it is. I know what I'm meant to do with my life. And this is what I must do. This is my new purpose. This is the reason to exist that I've been looking for. Sharing your uniqueness. I mean, yeah, we're billion people on this planet, but each of us are different in every single way. And if we were more open to learning about each other and supporting each other and listening to each other and actually seeing that, there would be no barriers, there would be no race, there would be nothing. It would just be humans living the human experience. But see, my goal is not to teach this to a million people. I just want to do it one person at a time and make sure that that person goes and shares it with another person. And that to me is real ripple effect. Not sharing some fancy words on Facebook or Instagram that's going to have 1,000 likes and everyone's going to scroll to the next thing after, but actually having it impacted in one person so much that they're going to go and talk about this to another person and have a real conversation, real impact, real influence. And then that's where change happens. Deep change happens. And Yeah, that's what I'm meant to do. It's to spread this uniqueness message and make sure that I'm also living as uniquely as possible in the sense that I'm as authentic and real as possible. But I catch myself screwing up sometimes and not being perfect. I'm far from. I'm the most flawed person in the world. But I accept that and I embrace that as part of who I am also. If I wasn't flawed, I wouldn't be here talking to you today because I would not have made any mistakes in life. And how boring would my life be if I didn't have any mistakes? You know? I always say that you're writing the grand novel of your life. And the grand novel of your life, who wants to read a book that doesn't have plot twists, that doesn't have failures, that doesn't have exciting adventures and unique characters? That makes a great book. If our books were just so easy to write and just nothing happens but good things, I would never buy that book. So, isn't it awesome that we get to write our own book every day and we get to decide the plot twists and the characters? And sometimes the universe puts it in our way too. We either decide to go for it or not, but either way, it makes a great story. And when you're on your deathbed, it all connects. You see why everything happened for a reason. And it's only looking back that we can understand truly what our reason to have done everything that we've done was. I'm getting a little intense here, but that's a lot of stuff there.
Mentioning that, that it's really bringing back the memory of how we connected on a more deeper level.
Mm.
And it is kind of asking to be brought up. That's why I'm mentioning it. And if you feel comfortable sharing that story of the deeper connection, the synchronicity of me reaching out in a very important moment of your life, witnessing your death.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a heavy one. That's a good one, and it's my pleasure to be able to share with you. So, in
A lot of
2021,
people are going through heavy moments, so it's worth mentioning and sharing because that life journey that we live, it's not always rainbow and sunshine,
yeah, no,
and
no, no, no,
one is always balanced with the other. So
absolutely.
it
Um,
feels like something we are to share.
yeah. That's speaking of deathbed. Here we are. Yeah, it's my pleasure to share this story, and I think it's an important story, and you are an integral part of it. So my father passed away from pancreatic cancer in November 2021. And in November 2021, on November 13th, my father was admitted to palliative care for his last day alive, which we didn't know because we thought he'd still be okay, but he went into a coma and soon after was not responsive anymore. So to make a long story short, my father we had brought him in the morning there, and throughout the day he had fallen into a coma, and my mother and my brother were there too also. My kids came to visit him one last time. People close to him also came and said goodbye to him for one last time. And all this accumulated to coming up at around 8 p.m., where it was November, so it was dark outside, and my brother and my mother were extremely exhausted, like super exhausted. And they said to me that they wanted to go home to catch some sleep and to be rested for when eventually my father passed away, because now he was under heavy medication. It was a question of time before he would just fly away. And so I said, yes, I'm going to stay with my father, and I'm going to spend the night with him, and I'm going to just sit by his side, and you guys go home and relax and go sleep, and I'll let you know if there's anything that changes. So they went home, and I was alone in this beautiful room, sitting on a lazy boy chair with my father right beside me, breathing through a tube, slowly but surely. Not there, but there. The thing with this also is that on that night, I had decided, since I was there and I was going to stay up all night or until he passed away, I would write my exam for Jay Shetty. This was my certification, oral, not oral, but written exam, where I had to write a case study and put in a bunch of stuff there, my how I'm going to, the way I would coach, and anyways, it had to be like 30,000 words or 3,000 words. I don't remember how many, but I wrote it and I fine-tuned it, and I wanted to send it out that night. And it was my goal to do that. So I was with my dad and I was writing this thing, and I was putting it all on paper, not on paper, but on my computer, and I was rereading it, and I was, changing words, changing verbs, trying to make it very concise in the way that I wanted it to be, to send out, to be graded. And I remember at around 1 or midnight, around there, I remember finishing it up and having it all done, corrected, and in my eyes, as perfect as it can ever be, to send over to the Jay Shetty. And I pressed send. And I remember looking at my father, who was there, and I said, I did it, Dad, because my father was very skeptical on my life going forward in terms of how I wanted to become a coach. He didn't understand what it was. He had reservations about that. He gave his opinion about that. But when he learned that he was sick, when I started explaining to him what it is to be coach and all that, he actually understood. He really took the time to understand me. So we were able to settle that before he left. And now I had submitted the exam by his side. And it was a way for me to show that I was able to do this, because my dad saw me quit school. He saw we had difficult relationships together throughout my teenage years. I was a rebel because he was a police officer, so I did everything to go against what he wanted to do. I was a rock and roll guy. He was, a stand-up guy. So to finish this and to be able to send it that night, and to do this and kind of wrap the bow around our relationship, since we had mended so many fences together in the past year, but finish this one thing that was my reason to exist, this coaching thing that I gotten on, that was finally done with. The party was over, but continuing in a new house. But I had to send this written exam in, was a huge thing for me, and I did it with him by my side, right beside me, physically breathing, alive, listening, but not there. And after sending it, I remember I got a bing, and it was you. It just popped up. And it was like, hey, how are you doing? And I was like, holy shit. It's like, where does this come from? It's midnight, or something of the sort. It's like, I never get a message from anybody from Jay Shetty at midnight, unless they're from New Zealand or something and it's the next day. But I was like, oh, it was you. And I said, hey, Mariya, I'm doing fine. And I started telling you that, I just sent my written exam. I'm very, very excited about that. And I'm with my father, and he's he's going to pass away soon, and it's a beautiful moment. It's good. It's hard, but it's beautiful. I just sent my written exam with him by my side, and I just remember you just being so simple, not huge sentences of, oh, this is a great moment, this must be cherished. You were just like, oh, well, I'm with you, and I'm thinking of you, and I knew I had to write to you. And I was like, oh my God, this is like connection beyond connection here. And I was so grateful for you to even take that moment. And you got the call from your life force, universe, call it what you want, that said to you that you got to send a message to Rod. And that would combine with the first message you sent me when I got into the school, kind of like went full circle at that moment. And it was a very brief conversation. I think you knew I just wanted to be alone with my father, so you said a few words of encouragement, and just beautiful words, simple yet so profound. And I spent the night with my dad, and I remember at 4 in the morning, I opened my eyes. I'd fallen asleep on that lazy boy, and my dad's breathing was once every 3 minutes, or I don't remember exactly how much, but he was just breathing very, very slowly. And now I realized, oh my God, now he's not breathing anymore. Because during the night he was breathing regularly, but huge breath, like, Now he was like, right? So I pressed the button to get the nurse in, and the nurse comes into the room. And I get up and I say, I think he's not breathing a lot anymore. And she's like, let's check. And I said, I have to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom. I can't hold anymore. I just, she said, she took my hand and she said, don't go. And I'll always remember that. It's like, don't go. I just wanted to go to the bathroom. And at that moment, he took his last breath. I heard like that. And the nurse looked at me and she just said, he's flown away. My sympathies. And like that, my dad left at the exact moment he was supposed to. And I was there to witness the last breath. And it was the most beautiful, intense, amazing, life-changing, unexplainable moment of fulfillment that I've felt, of being there with your own father and witnessing a death so natural in life leaving the body with the last breath. I can spend hours trying to explain it to you, and I would never show how emotionally charged it was in that moment. And it was just beautiful, beautiful. I wasn't sad at all. It was beautiful. Of course, I was sad to see him go and lose him in a physical sense, but to see him go that way, and I had the chance to send him my written exam, had the chance to talk to him during the night, had the chance to connect with him, even though he wasn't there, I felt that he was there with me, and he knew he didn't want my brother or my mother to be there. He wanted just me, because he knew I was going to be the most calm and the most appreciative of him leaving, and he didn't want any hysteria, any crying, tears, or intense emotion. He wanted to leave in the most peaceful peaceful way possible. And he knew with me that I was very, very okay with him leaving that moment. I knew he was. And when he did, it just went, it was beautiful. I I don't know if I should say I wish everyone could go through this to see just how life is and how beautiful life is and how fleeting it is at the same time when you take your last breath. Um, but I'll never forget the words that my dad said when he learned that he only had 3 months to live. He said, "I wish I could have done more." And he never gave me the explanation of what he could have done more. But obviously there was stuff that he didn't get to do, regrets maybe, adventures he didn't have, travels. Maybe he wasn't the best of husbands all the time with my mom, depending on who you listen to. But I never want to say that. So I've made it a mission personally to never, ever say I could have done more. So I do my best every day. So that if that moment happens to me, then I know that I leave knowing I did my best and I can't do more. So I leave no stone unturned and take every opportunity and live as authentically as possible, because again, we're all on the same path. We're all going towards the grave. And it may be a harsh reality, but that's why it makes it so important to live and to share your genius. So there's my short, long story. And thank you for reminding me of that. It was a very, very special moment that, again, you were part of.
Thank you for sharing. And again, thank you for allowing me to witness you through this.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. We might be eternal beings, eternal souls, but in this human journey, we have an expiration date.
Yeah.
And the earlier we remember that, the earlier we can start really living in the present, in the now,
Yeah.
enjoying everything around us.
Yeah.
enjoying the people that are around us,
Yeah.
cherishing the relationships
Yeah. Absolutely.
as we have them.
Yeah.
Because young or old, tomorrow is never guaranteed. It's all
Tomorrow's a
here
mystery.
and now, in
Yeah.
the present.
Yeah.
And to that I'm just out of the blue message you. It's a reminder to each and every one. We started with the big thing. Keep sharing your voice, no matter how it sounds, no matter how shy you're feeling, how insecure, how much of an imposter syndrome you might feel. Show up for the people that need to hear your message, but also in those little moments that you get an urge from your inner knowing. Somebody comes to your mind. It takes a second
Yeah.
to reach out and say, hey, how are you? You don't know what is going on through their mind, through their life,
Yeah.
right now in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
But just say, hey, how are you? No matter how out there it might sound, I don't know him that well. It's 12 in the morning. You don't have to put your human judgment on why this is happening.
Yeah.
Just be there for your fellow humans because that's what we are. We are messengers to each other every day. One day I deliver a message, a few days later, you were messaging me exactly when I had that twin flame story with the guy ghosting me on my birthday. And you were like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, I don't even know what to say, how I am, but
Yeah.
thank you for being on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's those little moments
Yeah.
of witnessing. It's not big, broad things sometimes. Talking in front of everybody. You are changing lives. You are changing the world through changing lives.
Mm-hmm.
By being you and showing up as you are, listening to that tiny, sometimes inner voice say, hey, somebody need to hear that message.
Yeah. Yeah. It's beautifully said.
And I will always be the one delivering. It's not every time that you might be ready to receive it. But again, it's not for us to judge what messages should be delivered when.
Yeah.
Because even if it's not on time, it might be another time.
Mm-hmm.
Now they'll be, oh, okay, now I
Yeah.
understand now.
Yeah. It's beautifully said, Maria. And I always say that you're one hello, how are you away from changing and having an impact on someone you never knew you could have with just that. So let's encourage more hello, how are you, and reaching out to people that you'd never think would need to hear it, but actually want to hear it. because maybe that's exactly what they needed that day. And it starts with that. Yeah. One person at a time. One person at a time. It's beautiful. Thank you for that.
Always starts with you. Change
Yeah.
and everything starts from within, and we're both witnessed. We're both isn't witness
Yep.
example of how working on ourselves, changing our limiting beliefs, showing up for others can be the ripple effect on
Yeah.
that many.
Well,
And I usually ask that question in the beginning, but somehow our conversation took a different turn. So I'll ask it as a closing question and an opening question to what is next. Who is Roderic today?
that's an easy question. I'm a weathercock. I'm a weathercock. I am someone who is open to changing and being flexible and pivoting at any moment in life. That is who I am. I'm creative in every which way possible. And to be creative is being open to possibility. And being open to possibility means you have to change your mind. You can't be stuck in your ways and you can't just go on one road. You must try many. So that is why it's called the Weathercock Podcast, because it's about pivoting. It's about changing your mind and not caring what anybody says or anybody tells you to do. You do it because it's what you want to do. So who am I? I'm definitely the symbol of a weathercock, which is to, if you use it as the metaphor, is to change your mind often and change your mind when it serves you. Some people will say that weathercocks change their mind to follow the trend. I say, who cares if you follow the trend? If you like the trend, follow it. If it speaks to you, try it. If you don't like it, stop and change your mind. That's all I'm saying. You only have one life, so change your mind as often as you want. Try as many things as possible until you find what it is, your mission, your objective, your dreams, your goals, your vision for life, and then go after it as hard as you can. And if it doesn't work anymore, stop, surrender, change your mind. Go for something new. Don't stop. You only get one shot. People will not remember the amount of cars you have in your driveway or the amount of watches and jewelry, and they don't know, they don't care about the overtime you did at your work and what title you held at work. They don't remember that. They remember your passion and your purpose. They remember just how you were dedicated to something greater than yourself and how much you loved and took care of your family, your kids, your wife, your partner, your whatever. That's what sticks. And that to me is who I am, is changing my mind as often as possible, but always making decisions with my values and the people that I love. And the rest is all experiences.
And what is next for you? When can we expect that book of yours?
Well, the book is done. I'm going to serialize it and put it in audio during the summer. And I'm going to release it in the fall. I'm going to probably have it in a physical copy also during in the fall. I am stopping my podcast, funny enough, for the summer because I'm taking it to a paying platform where I'm going to charge people to listen to my podcast. Now that's a whole other podcast too. Not because I want to make money, but there's a whole thinking for this because I have ideas for my content and how I want to put myself out there and for my next chapter. So yeah, I'm pausing, I'm serializing my book, and I'm going to write another book, and I'm going to learn in the next year to be fully autonomous in my business, which is my practice will be full time. That's my goal, to have a full time practice, and it's getting there. And I want to learn to be a barista also. I want to learn how to make coffee. So that's also what I'm going to do. So I'm doing a lot of stuff. I am doing a lot of stuff. So if I was to give you a whole summary of where it's going next, my vision for my life is what I call the 9-2-1. 9 months to serve, 2 months to learn a new craft, and 1 month to travel the world. That's what I want. That's my 12 months of the year. So that's what's next for me. But May not be next year, might be in 2 years, 3 years, but the world and life has adventures for me to be able to follow on. So I'm going to be following them too. But today, that's what it is.
I remember a beautiful, funny story about coffee, but we might need to share this in another episode. It was such a pleasure to have you today, to reconnect, to share you and your wisdom with the world. Any final thoughts, words that you want to share with the audience?
Well, I'm going to share with your audience just how much I appreciate you and want to thank you for inviting me on your podcast. I think this was an amazing, amazing conversation. I know I did a lot of the talking, but you asked amazing questions. I want to tell everybody out there just how impactful you were in my life and that you still resound in my head on certain occasions where I hear your words, I hear the thoughts that you've had. So that connection is still very much alive. And I encourage everyone to do something that is purposeful and meaningful with your life. So change your mind if you have to. Pivot and be flexible to all things. And you're going to live a most fulfilled life ever.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing yourself. Thank you to being you, to walking this path with all of us. I look forward to your book, and we might reconnect again once it comes out,
Yeah, that'd be
so
great.
you can share more. Thank you everyone for tuning in. If you like this conversation, subscribe, hit the like button, and share it so more people can hear our stories and maybe they can become the guides for their own journey. Thank you, everyone. See you next time.